Hi guys, thanks for coming back to Comic Book Lounge. Today I'll be reading and reviewing Knull number 1. First, I'll summarize Knull's background in case you've been out of the loop or don't know who Knull is or what's happened to him in the last couple of years. But Knull, as you know, is the god of symbionts, an ancient cosmic deity who ruled the void before the universe existed. The Celestials, when creating the multiverse, brought light and invaded Knull's kingdom, but Knull fought back. He created the first symbiote as a blade of living shadow from his own body and was able to decapitate a celestial. The head became known as Nowhere, which he used as a forge and temper the blade in the celestial's cosmic blood. He then created Klintar, which were symbiotes, to act as a hive mind army to go out and extinguish the light in all the universes. Back in 2020, the King of Black crossover event, Knull escaped his prison and invaded Earth with an army of symbiote dragons. While the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four struggled to hold him back, Eddie Brock, Venom, saved the world by wielding the Enigma Force, or the God of Light. Then he flew Knull into the heart of the sun and essentially disintegrated him. Eddie then took Knull's throne, becoming the new King in Black. For several years, Knull was considered dead, but his consciousness was scattered into the void, until now. We see a sullen, defeated Knull sitting in a cage, somebody saying, "Behold, the King in Black. Not much to look at, are you?" We see it's a guard. He continues, "Big bad King in Black." Knull hisses back at him. The guard flinches and backs up surprised. "Oi, what was it? A hiss? Reptilian ire from the rodent caught in a trap? Huh, bloody hell, that's rich. Well, save your breath, monster. You're going nowhere. That cage is your new home, at least until Her Highness deems your repulsive form ripe for eviction. And when that time comes, and it will, be you snake or rat, she'll crush you under her boots like you were nothing." Knull responds, "Silly fool, do you believe this is the first cage to hold me captive?" Compared to Klintar, this is nothing more than a shoddy magician's stage pipe. Like your false bravado, lacking any true substance, merely for show. Interject here for a minute. Klintar is the planet that was formed when billions of symbiotes swarmed together to imprison Knull. They created a massive living shell around him to keep him trapped at the core. And that's the end of this little interruption. Knull continues, "And when I escape this prison, and I will, you'll see how much I despise your puerile speciousness. I'll paint this entire universe with the dark ichor of my victims, and your rancid blood will be the first I dip my brush into." The guard responds, "That's so, little snake. You forget, I have a razor-sharp paintbrush of my own. Perhaps I should..." Someone cuts him off and says, "Perhaps you should avoid tempting such foolhardy danger by standing so close to our special guest, whilst donning one of his symbiotic children, soldier. Besides, it is you who should not forget." The person speaking is revealed. It is Hela, the goddess of death, and she continues that we owe him so much. I'm just going to interject here for a brief second. How does this make any sense here? Why would Hela's guards use symbiotes as their armor? This seems strange to me since Knull can control symbiotes. I'm very suspicious. Maybe we'll find out later what this is about. Hela continues, "Now be gone. The good general and I require some privacy with our new friend." She now talks directly to Knull. "I trust you are comfortable?" Knull responds, "And I trust you will squeal like a butchered sow, Hela, as I rip the porcine heart from your breast." The general warns her, "Be careful, my lady. As you say, he remains dangerous." She responds, "To the guards, yes." We see Knull trying to reach and grab at her. She continues speaking, "Not to their mistress," as she grabs Knull's outstretched arm to a surprised Knull and snaps his arm like a twig. Knull recoils and backs up in his cage, screaming, "You! I'm going to kill all of you!" Hela responds, ambitious yet doubtful. "So tell me, Tyra Odison, what know you of our guest?" General Tyra Odison responds, "He is a thing of the void, my lady, like cursed oblivion, who laid me low in Asgard's eyes and my own. made me fit only for your service. She responds, not quite, General. Oblivion is the great end of all things Knull wishes to be. Oblivion is the division who sits equal to the living tribunal. He is the void. Knull is, as you said correctly stated, only a vit, and he exists now only as a technicality. Knull whispers, I'll slaughter every last one of you. Hela continues, it was at the dawn of the cosmos when the Celestials chose Knull to serve as the King in Black, a role he held until he so imprudently attacked the champion of Midgard, ultimately forfeiting his reign to the Venom host at the time, the human called Eddie Brock, when Brock incinerated him in the sun. But Brock's time as the King of Black was brief, lost through a combination of misadventure and self-sabotage, creating an imbalance of the universe, a great void in the machinery of creation that the universe was forced to correct, and the god of the void is Knull. Ironic, really, when nobody is the King of Black, you return, Knull, because you, empty space, are the greatest nobody of all. We see Knull sulking and shrinking down in his cage as Hela continues. But Knull returned weakened, a wisp of something that once was, a word conjured merely to fill a void. Still, if he'd remembered that Asgard existed, he might have known to avoid my snares. But none of Midgard do, not even Knull. So outside his sight, I gathered the threads of fate in my grip and bound him with them. And now his strength returns. Knull, not paying attention as Hela reaches to grab Knull and yells, to me! Hela grabs Knull and starts draining his essence. She's glowing with Knull's power, saying, oh yes! We then see Knull collapse on the floor, totally defeated. Hela speaks. Less dark energy than before. It appears you're starting to outlive your usefulness, god of nothingness. But perhaps that will be your final escape, and becoming nothing again. It feels like she's goading him, purposely making Knull look powerless as she walks away. Knull, weakened and angry, saying, nothing? Which seems to give him an idea. As he repeats, nothing? He seems to calm down, sits down in his cage, saying, the Asgardian wench is right. I am nothing. I am the void, the great absence. It's time to prove it. He calms downstairs and he seems to disappear from the cage. He is gone. The original guard returns to the chamber and sees the empty cage. Thinking the god, Knull, is invisible, he thrusts his spear into the cage, desperately trying to prove it's some sort of trick. All of a sudden, we hear Knull speak. It's not a trick, but you were still correct. The cage was empty, and I am the great emptiness. When the cage was empty, I was in the cage. The guard is flaying around with the spear, not sure where Knull is. All of a sudden, Knull starts to rematerialize behind the guard, saying, but the room was empty too. We see Knull smiling as he rips the guard's head off through the symbiotic armor in one fell swoop. Knull is calling back the symbiotic armor, speaking, yes, that's it. Return to me, my child, away from this insignificant blight. Much better. My strength increases. Death is the void of life. After all, child, every death, the end of the universe. Granted, a small universe from such an unimportant creature as that, but it will do for now. Knull escapes the cage in the chamber. As he runs into the hall, we see another of Hela's symbiotic guards yell, the prisoners escaped! Stop where you are! As Knull, who rediscovered his new power, uses it and rips out the guard's spine through his armor. He summons the symbiote once more, drinking in its power. When 3 guards stumble upon him, he tears through them with ease, absorbing their armor into his shifting mass. Knull states, these small tricks are all I can muster for now. He finds a ship and yells, there, exactly what we need, my children. I'm embarrassed to admit I once flew across the expanse of the universe on the back of a majestic dragon of living darkness. And now I'm reduced to pilfering this pitiful machine. As we see Knull taking the ship and leaving, he continues, I must regain my full strength. But how? We cut to Hela as she says, excellent. As she's watching Knull escape by ship, she continues, "Our former guest is playing directly into my hands." The general interrupts, "I'm not so certain of that, my lady. With all due respect, this is a dangerous game you play. Midgard is cut off from other realities. It's only by chance that we were here when the Rainbow Bridge was destroyed." I'm going to jump in here for a second just to give you a little background on what the general is talking about here. This happened in Immortal Thor number 25. Thor, Courage, and his allies were in Utgard, the realm of elder gods, fighting a losing battle against the massive forces of Utgard Loki. To even reach the realm, Loki linked the Rainbow Bridge of Asgard to the Black Bridge of Utgard. Loki killed Thor, and Courage held the line as the final defender. He realized the only way to save the realms was to cut the connection entirely, so Scourge swung his blood axe with all his might and destroyed the Rainbow Bridge. So that ends this little background. I'm going to continue with the general. The general continues, "'Tis true we have the opportunity to build great power in Midgard with no interference, but should we fail, there is no retreat. Is it worth gambling so much just to steal a little more power from Knull?" She responds, "Why, General, your trepidation disappoints me. Surely you understand that an almost queen in black is no queen in black at all, yes? No, I must have it all Knull's power, but I cannot tear it away from him by force, not with the magic I currently possess." She continues, "He must give up the last of his dark kingdom of his own free will, and I've placed him on the path to do just that. The only move he can make in this game is the one that will ensure my victory. But if it's certainty you seek, it's certainty I shall provide. Knull's a stubborn old goat. He may need a shepherd. It's time to call," cut to, she continues, "an old flame." As we see, she's going to reach out to Thanos. And this ends the first issue of Knull.